Shades, we're your host Shadow the Wing on the cover of here, an episode of Rain and we're back here, and it's been 2 days, I think, but if last time we were like, oh, we're gonna do a mystery labyrinth where we're gonna kill Mike Wazowski.
Go.
And Project Homunculus occurred at the same time.
So that's why Amaterasu Corp grew impatient.
The key point is that the specimen went missing. Probably has nothing to do with this city, though. But what's this about someone having the best brain in the world?
The main project from this city has nothing to do with the city?
No. They're saying the project from Amaterasu going missing is unrelated to Kanai Ward.
Well, Amaterasu is Kanai Ward, is what the CEO said.
No, it's not. Sorry, I misspoke again. It is it was UG's homunculus that ran off. I'm pretty sure was the whole point.
Okay, I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
Yeah, 3 years ago, the United States government. Yeah, this was her note saying the United government made one.
I thought it was Kanai Ward.
And our theory was that the DNA they used was number one, the detective, and he's a successful homunculus who escaped, came to Kanai Ward, and
to be fair, I don't remember much about last time. I was tired. I remember the CEO.
Yuma!
Wait, you're alive? Where the fuck?
Kurumi!
Are you the bad guy? It'd be funny if Kurumi is like the actual mastermind in this situation. Because why the fuck is she behind us? Like, you're saying we walked by her? No fucking way.
Are you okay? Where were you?
I'm sorry. I thought I saw someone who looked like Aiko.
Aiko? Your friend who passed away 6 months ago?
Oh. What? Okay, well, no, she knows about the homunculus. And she said, hey, fuck this
she's
shit,
just
I'm
like,
gonna go
let
after
me
a
follow
zombie.
the flesh eating thing.
Let me go after the zombie.
Yes. I lost you when I went looking for her. But I
Well,
got
no,
to talk to her.
you left us.
She looked and talked differently from how I remembered.
Yeah?
Still, I finally got to say goodbye. I think she understood.
Whatever you need to tell yourself.
That's good to hear. I got to see Chief Yako back there too.
The chief? Did you speak to him?
Nope.
No, not really.
Well, maybe, actually, you can technically say we spoke to him. He just
We
didn't
did
reply.
speak to him. Yes, that is exactly true. He might not have understood us, but we spoke to him.
Oh yeah. We spoke to him.
But he did hand me something that exposes the truth about this place.
Does it though? Does it? It has a lot of sensor bars, and I'm pretty sure I heard some jazz music in the background. I thought I saw a big black guy or something. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it really exposes a whole lot about this factory entirely. I know you just tried to do the prawn.
Did it not come through at all?
It did. It came through slightly. I think I don't know. Like the audio was a little weird.
Discord's like censor that.
Not that much. It was just like it was just one of those things where it's like the bang and it wasn't as loud. But I also just threw you down because you were being loud, so I can bounce you back up. But anyway, yeah, But anyway, I don't think that tape was very revealing. All it says is that the top scientist of the lab died a long time ago.
That sounds like something the chief would do. Oh, right. There was something I remembered after talking with Aiko.
You know, it'd be funny. It'd be really funny if that, because I don't think we saw his face. It'd be really funny if in reality that was actually someone else who was just pretending to be him, and all they had to do was just not talk.
Right.
What do you mean? I'm so glad Kurumi's alright.
Don't breathe a sigh of relief just yet, Master. The Flatty said she remembered something.
What?
What did you remember?
Heiko really hated syringes. She'd raise hell whenever the school gave out vaccines.
Where's this
What's that to
coming
do
from?
now? Good question.
I'm getting there. I mentioned syringes to see if it was really Aiko I was talking to. Then I suddenly remembered. A few years ago, something bizarre happened in the city.
What?
What happened?
Everyone in Kanai Ward had to take a blood test. The Peacekeepers ordered it, and no one could refuse.
So they just collected the entire city's DNA. These are all clones.
Okay. Okay, that explains why there's one of everyone. Is there anyone that wouldn't make sense for? Not for any of our cases, because obviously those were all residents. Every Amaterasu employee would make sense. Wait, what if they tried? I don't think they could do this because he's the CEO, but what if they tried to take the DNA of Homunculus? Would that, like, would that destroy itself or something, or, like, be evident that it's not real DNA or something? I wonder. Because that's, like, one of those things, like, what would happen if you carved off a cell from another cell? At least that's what I'm thinking about in my head.
Is it reduction?
Or it makes me think of it be like something like, you know how tapes, like VHS tapes, the more they get, is it like the more they
The
get
more they
recorded or
get
something?
used, the more they get rewinded, the more
Yeah.
damaged the tape is, and the more likely it is to mess up.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So like every next one, like if you kept collecting from the previous one, you would just keep getting like a more deteriorated form or something, you know?
A forced blood test?
Back
But
then,
that
we
doesn't
were
seem
told it was
very
to test for a
constitutional at all.
contagious disease.
Okay.
Right.
I'm trying to think about that really. Does that. I don't know if that makes this worse or not. If anything, the blood test would probably be the most humane way because then, you know. I mean, technically,
yeah, it
it's
is.
immoral because you're not telling them what it's for, but at the same time, you're not killing people for the test.
Yeah, that is better than also using their corpses and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, these are technically better things than what we were originally led to believe.
Mm-hmm. And at first, it seemed obvious that it would have been just normal bodies because it's like all the people we were seeing were people that were killed.
Right.
Or we didn't see them. They were like nondescript, so it's like, oh, this city's been around. I'm sure people die. You know, like it wasn't weird to see random civilian number 4. You know.
I had no reason to doubt it at the time. But my grandpa didn't actually get tested. He said it was suspicious how the Peacekeepers were enforcing it.
You mean your grandpa who went missing?
Yeah. And you know what? Grandpa disappeared right after the blood test.
So he knew about the Mungus project. He said, "I'm
Fuck that
leaving.
shit.
I'm leaving," and then he made his own detective agency, and then was like, the UG's like, "Hey, we actually asked them to do that. Could you do that for us so we could beat them?" And he's like, "Fine. Yeah, they're dicks. All right, let's do this shit." Oh, you know what? I bet he asked them to get his granddaughter, like as like a, hey, if I'll give you my blood if you can help get my granddaughter out of there, because
Right.
that's not a good place to be, or it won't be when you do your shit.
He and his friends did everything they could to make sure no one found out they avoided the test. But right after it happened, Grandpa was caught and completely vanished.
Oh.
The same happened to anyone who didn't take the test.
Wait, when you say caught, do you mean like by the...
They were caught that they just
Like-
didn't have their name on record or whatever.
It's like, I want her to go into more details and like, did she see the Peacekeepers detaining him? Or is this in the news there was a list of people who need their blood tested, right? Like, was it just
Or
was it just a broadcast thing, or was it a physical detaining?
probably
Oh,
she's not probably aware of like the disappearance. She probably means caught as in the sense of like he was figured out.
Okay, like I'm thinking broadcast, like, hey, blank has,
Yeah,
or
you're
maybe a
thinking
better
like an
is like a
arrest.
bounty board. Like these people haven't been like it might not be completely public information to the outside world, but definitely in the company, there's like, okay, these are the people left to be tested, right? You know, it's like an open secret.
Don Kurumi. By it, do you mean the blank week mystery?
I mean, isn't that a bit presumptuous? Like, I was thinking it as in you're referring the blood test started, you know? Like, I'm just gonna say that downright.
Huh? Yeah, I do.
Do you know what it is? What the
And
fuck?
even the public is aware of this? Or is that just another
All I've
bullshit
heard
thing
is
that
that
your
the blank
grandfather
week
happened to
mystery
tell
is a
you and you
taboo
only?
within Kanai Ward. Can you tell me about it? What exactly is the blank week?
I can't tell you anything.
Is she a homunculus that's programmed? Like, you know how robots can have like certain words that they say they self-destruct or something, or if they admit that they're like a fake or something. Like, shows can like make it where they have
She'll
contingencies where they
explode.
blow up. Like,
Right.
could I wonder if homunculus could be programmed? I guess is my question. Because if they could be, I'm wondering if she's a homunculus.
What? Why?
No matter who you ask, you'll get the same answer.
Why?
That's because no one remembers it.
I'm sorry. You're telling me
Memory wise?
everyone in the city has amnesia for an entire week? And
That's impressive.
this is a
I mean,
yearly thing?
cases of mass amnesia, ain't there, I think? Or am I thinking of I don't know. That might be wrong.
Okay, no. Okay, no. I'm saying it wrong. I was saying it as if as if every year they get amnesia this 1 week. No, it's that there was this 1 week that they all had amnesia and they just remember the exact date it happened. That's weird. Wouldn't that be weird? Like, if you
But,
lose a memory of something, wouldn't you just be like, huh, this seems familiar? You wouldn't acknowledge that you're missing memory, right?
I mean, you would. A lot of people have questions about that all the time. I'm sure, like, there's someone like paranoia is too large for people to just not question it. You know?
It's like, because when I'm thinking of it, right, like, it's not paranoia I'm thinking of, like, if you don't have a memory of something, you can't, you can't use that information, or you have no
Well, if they do
recollection of it.
remember the week and they know that they don't remember it, that might cause some suspicion, is what I think. Or are
Oh,
you trying to say
okay. You're
something else?
saying that they know the timestamp, they just don't know what happened
Well, they
in the
do
timestamp.
know the timestamp because she's like she knows about the blank week mystery, but she doesn't remember it.
Well, I'm questioning who started the Blinkwick mystery. Was that just the mass populace, or was that because, like, my question is, if you have amnesia of a certain event, how would you know what it? How would you know to call it or to reference it? Unless someone told you. But if everyone
That's
has
the thing. That's
amnesia,
exactly what I'm saying. Is that the fact that they do know means that they know something, but if they don't know what it is the question. Do they know what it is?
to me, it makes
They know it exists, is what she says. She knows it
mhm.
exists, but she doesn't know what it is.
It reminds me in a cop show where one character got drunk and they're known for being on time and shit, and they had to sober up, but they literally timestamp when they blacked out. Like they were incoherent, but they knew to like do like I don't know, like a text message or something, or like a note of like, okay, I blacked out at 8:49. Like, like the exact minute. That's what this reminds me of. It's like you don't have any memory, but you have a weird exact knowledge of when it happened.
What do you mean? You don't remember?
I woke up one day and the entire city was ruined.
Whoa!
It was like a tornado had swept through.
Okay! What the fuck?
Some extra context.
Not only were the outdoors destroyed, but the inside of our homes too.
Well, that's what a tornado will do. If it goes right through your home's not gonna be there anymore. You know?
Well,
There's
shit, it's like a tornado.
But if it was a tornado, you would expect your home and the
Yeah, if
inside
it
to be
was,
fucked up.
but she says it was wrecked like a tornado went through, but it wasn't.
Well, how would you know it wasn't a tornado if you have no memory of it?
Well, that is another thing. Why would she say? Why would she make the specification like a tornado instead of a tornado? That's just using exact wording to make a conclusion.
Um, yeah, if a tornado were to go through your town, there's going to be a
Well,
lot of
yeah,
structural damage.
I understand that.
Something terrible must have happened while we were sleeping. And none of the residents remember a thing.
Bro, this is literally, I will sleep through a fire alarm, and this would be the shit. I wake up and it's like, wait, why is the house in 400 pieces?
How could that be possible?
In fact, my home was torn to pieces too. But I don't remember anything that happened back then.
Where did you wake up? Did you wake up in the middle of the street? Or were you in the ocean? Like, did you get thrown? Can you give any context details to where
No.
the hell you were?
Not
But
allowed.
that's not all. Within that time, the date in Kanai Ward had moved forward by a week.
A whole week passed while you were asleep?
I think so, but we never quite found out what really happened. When we woke up, everyone in Kanai Ward barely even noticed that it had been completely ravaged. Businesses with dealings outside the city were aware they had a week of no activity. But right afterwards,
Okay.
Kanai Ward was completely isolated, so no one could look into it.
The first thing I thought of was like,
So they
is this
isolated after this happened. This is some like protocol thing that someone enacted or something.
Because at first I was thinking, I was like, is this like a scheme where like Amaterasu was trying to like hide a war or something? Like, and they just sorry, not hide a war. They were trying to like make up a disaster to happen, so they pretended to like they made every Amaterasu product go over a week. But the fact outside companies acknowledge there's nothing going on for a week just says that yeah, a week. The time frame of a week did go by, and everyone was just in a comatose state, even if they were being killed.
In the end, it was all forgotten while things were still uncertain. No, I think it's more accurate to say we chose to forget.
Hmm?
It was all too bizarre and scary.
What?
What? Why was it?
No,
why was
that's dumb.
why was
No one decided to look into anything ever.
Okay, no.
That's
What
just not how humans work.
My bigger question right now is, what was so terrifying about it? The fact you were sleeping through a natural
A
disaster?
tornado
Or was it scary because you didn't know what was going on? Because there's a lot of scenarios where you don't know what's going on. It's called being in the first person. like, what part of this was the terrifying part? Can you give any examples? And if it was so terrifying, why didn't you try to leave? Well, I guess it's because the isolation. Wait, in isolation states, can't you leave unless if it's like
No,
no?
I think so.
I mean,
It's usually
I
no
guess
one
that
in,
would
no
make
one out.
sense. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I want to know what's so terrifying with this. Like, did you guys see Godzilla or something? Because if you saw Godzilla and he wrecked your place, I would be, I'd be terrified too. Now, I probably wouldn't, I don't expect Godzilla to check in on a yearly basis, but
It kind of became a touchy subject, and no one wanted to talk about it.
I I I want to make I have this idea, but it's really just a lie. It's just a string of words, which is that the entire city is programmed. I don't know how. I don't know by what means, but this
Because the
entire
entire
city
city is
is
manipulated.
programmed, and I don't mean because it's a video game like Lines of Code. I don't mean like that. I mean the mass populace are just robots in meat suits. I swear to fucking God.
Well, with how they act, kind of, yeah, you would think so. But fucking,
So
this
that's
is
why
the
the
normal
blank week
thing. A
mystery
lot of
could.
humans look straight into the fucking abyss of fear and like, what the fuck just happened?
And
You
you're
know,
telling,
that's
and even if some were terrified, you're telling me that the people who were terrified didn't try to like go through the border like illegally? If they're so terrified, right? Why wouldn't they leave? If this place is like the scary, if this week like scarred them for life, wouldn't you want to get away from a similar environment? So you got to a more comfortable, happy place. You know, so you go through the border, even if it's an isolation state.
you're not. Would do you risk a lot of people? That's a really big risk that you're just suggesting everyone would make. But honestly, I I can see what your point is, I
King
guess.
Taboo.
Also,
Well, it's more the point that no one did that is more
well,
interesting.
do we know no one did that? We have evidence of like Dr. Heska and other people trying it.
They said they would, but
Well, that's the
like
thing.
we haven't seen it. They haven't given us. Obviously, they haven't like filled out any lore about the history of Conai Ward, unless if it's directly related to the case. And the mass populace trying to go over the border or under the border has not made it into the case because it's irrelevant. uh,
There were lots of different rumors about it at the time, but no one knows what really happened. Some people said that Conai Ward's clocks had all malfunctioned. Some said we were all drugged by some organization.
I feel like the only organization that could have pulled that off would have been Amaterasu. Even if they
I
weren't in
mean,
an isolation state, if this whole island is like all the
basically
manufacturing stuff by
controlled
Yeah,
by Amaterasu, then yeah,
they
I
would
can
literally be
see
the
your
only ones
point
that
on
could
that.
drug the entire city
I
on
mean,
a
it
mass
could be
scale.
a terrorist attack by technicality, I guess.
I guess if they like poison the water well or some shit, and they don't have like a
Like that's
filter
the only
system.
form of terrorism. Like
Well,
just
I'm thinking,
Joker, like
what's the easiest way
1960s
to
level of
get a
Joker.
drug into somebody that might not be detectable? And it would be, and the first thing that comes to mind is water.
That is quite detectable. Cities have almost all cities have plants where they specifically check all water.
Well, I mean, our Trasu could have been lazy. We don't know that. We don't know how good they are. We know the peacekeepers are god awful. I
I
mean,
mean, true.
but that's. I mean, we don't know how long they've been isolation state for because, like, if the
Well,
peacekeepers
we
were
it's
have been,
been since the blank week mystery or whatever,
and that was
which
like
was like
3 years
2 years
ago,
ago.
I guess, or something. So
It was 2 years ago, or I think, because it was 3 years of the one guy being something, and then the 2 years after he retired, I think is how it was described. I
um,
I could be wrong
but
about that
okay,
and have
so
that backwards,
let's
but
take the minimum. It's 2 years. You're saying in the 2 years the peacekeepers like just turned into the most worst like police force ever? Quite likely. But
I
were they
mean,
like
yeah,
that
it
from the
doesn't take
start? Is
much for
what I'm thinking, right? Were they like
people
god
to
awful
go
from the very
crazy.
beginning?
I mean, also possible.
Because Because like if they were that bad from the start, maybe Amaterasu at large could have been shitty. I mean, I slightly did it since the CEO had mind of judgment to worry about his underlings' jobs over his own his own leadership being kept. But like if the peacekeepers were that bad, and if they were that bad from the start, how good could Amaterasu be? If they let that rampaging egomaniac take charge.
Others think our internal clocks got messed up and we all fell asleep for a week.
That would be one fucked up internal clock. Like I've heard of jet lag, but have you ever heard of rain lag? Apparently they have rain lag because they just clock out for an entire fucking week. Like I feel like if you sleep for a week, you shouldn't have to fall asleep. You shouldn't have to go sleep for like 3 days. Like if
I
there was a
don't want to fully bring it up, but I remember a story that was actually something like that, like a real news story, I think, that was just completely just like that ridiculous.
of
It
course.
was fucking it was a guy who had a party with his friends, and they apparently did some substances. He went to bed for the night and slept for 4 days straight. And it turns out that 4 of his friends were found dead in his backyard, frozen to
Oh
death.
my god.
The door was locked from the inside.
Dude, that's like
Except there was no evidence of foul play, and 3 of them weren't near the door. 1 of them was.
that just makes me think of like whenever you cut back to like the main protagonist of an anime after a big battle and you see bandages on his head or like around his waist, it's like, how long has it been? It's like, oh, it's been a week.
Right? Just healed from 13 broken ribs in a week. That
my
is
goodness.
such a fucking yes, that is anime.
But we don't
It's
know
like
the
Demon
truth.
Slayer in a nutshell, actually.
What do you think happened? It's like time froze for the whole city.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
clearly
exactly
not.
what it's
Well,
like.
no, clearly not, because the
Yes,
city
exactly.
got
Something.
demolished.
Yes, the city was destroyed, so it clearly wasn't fucking no time passing.
All we know is that my
And the other companies clearly say that like the time didn't freeze or anything.
Right.
I'm not sure how they would detect it, but at the same time, I feel like if you
It,
send communications to a
it
place,
froze in this city
wait,
and
what if?
no one else.
I just thought this thing. What if they sent a message there and it's like, this is gonna take 6 days and 48 hours, and it's like, what the fuck? Are they in like what are they like in the dark ages? What happened? The companies are just like what happened over there? And then in reality, they're just stuck in a time warp for like a week, and they have no internet connection.
grandfather and others like him completely vanished back then. Kane Ward's unending reign also began right after those events.
Really?
Huh?
That's
The Blank
news.
Week mystery triggered it?
This is so mysteriful.
This game went from haha dumb little murder mysteries to actually something interesting.
I'm thinking the blank week. I'm
They
thinking
really
that
did
there
save
has.
all the good shit for the very end.
I'm thinking that the rain is connected to how they make successful homunculi. That's what I'm guessing.
That it's just they're plants and they need more moisture. They need more watering. They just didn't water their plants enough.
Or they just need they just need mass water in hold so they can pressurize them or something. I don't know.
Just
But
the atmosphere is
yeah,
good for preserving bodies or something.
yeah. But cause let's say that they kept making homunculi. You know what? What if the original CEO was making all the homunculi? That's like the
Well, that is
schoolgirl.
what he
That's
said. He said that the worst thing his company did was the homunculi, and it was Makoto
But
that made him
everyone's a
see that.
failure, so they take them to the restricted area. You know, they're all quarantined there. But that's before Makoto. Makoto gets here. He says,
Right,
"Don't
that's what
do this
he's.
anymore." He does isolation state, and then Blank Week Mystery came before that isolation.
It's
So
right. It's right as Makoto took over, which was also the Blank Week mystery started right when he did.
So I think he knows how to make successful homunculi, and he just wanted to make all the staff stop so he could do it secretly for whatever reason. Or maybe
All
Yomi
the
took it
profit
upon
for himself.
himself.
If
But I
he's
don't
the
know why
president
Yomi would know
slash
how to do it.
CEO, he can just avoid all the taxes he wants.
But I'm guessing the rain is having to do with the homunculi, just because of the fact that like, why would you need so much water? It's like, oh, you're making new people. Oh, okay.
That's all I know.
I see.
Wait, I have to end the video, but aren't people like 60% made up of water or something?
Yeah, it's something like that. It's like 60 or 80%. Yeah.
I don't think. Is it really 80? I think that's high. Can you search that up while I do the outro?
Sure. Let me
If you
find my
enjoyed
phone.
this video, do this at the top of the screen. If you have any questions, send them a Cosplay or to our Discord server. They'll be linked in the description and our about section. Other medias are in the same two places as they're associated. On the left is recommendation from YouTube, and the right is the series Raincoat in its entirety. And
It
let's see
is
if
60%. You were right.
all right.
Sorry.
I thought it was 60. 80 sounded high. I'm like, what are we, water people? I mean, yeah, I know we're highly comprised, but 80 seemed like, what are we, just a balloon? Like, we're just water balloons?
Yes, absolutely.
But anyway, yeah. We'll see you next time, fellow Shades.